Hey Spurs fans, welcome back to another update on our San Antonio Spurs. Before we jump into today's breaking news, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. That way, you'll never miss the latest stories, big announcements, and exclusive Spurs coverage. The video opened in a way no one could have predicted, with a darkened arena, a single bouncing basketball echoing through the silent corridors of the AT&T Center, and a camera slowly drifting toward the court as if searching for something invisible, until the faint outline of a familiar figure flickered on the massive screens above. And in that moment, the basketball world froze, realizing it was witnessing the prelude to a seismic announcement. The San Antonio Spurs were not simply interested in Anthony Edwards. They were preparing to make a move that could shatter the league's existing order. As the short, dramatic clip spread across social media in seconds, fans, analysts, and insiders began piecing together the unthinkable puzzle, connecting the Spurs' quiet off-season maneuvers with rumors swirling out of Minnesota, and what once seemed like distant speculation suddenly became a very real narrative. San Antonio was aggressively positioning itself to bring the electrifying Timberwolves star into its historic system. Anthony Edwards, a player known for his explosive athleticism, fearless confidence, and growing reputation as the face of a new NBA generation, represents everything a franchise could want in a modern superstar, and the mere suggestion that the Spurs could potentially land him instantly reignited international attention on an organization long celebrated for discipline, development, and quiet dominance. Behind closed doors, sources describe a growing sense of determination inside the Spurs front office, fueled by the belief that Edwards is not simply a star, but a transformational force capable of redefining team identity, market value, and championship potential in a way few players alive today can offer. The intrigue lies not only in his statistics or highlight reel dunks, but in his mentality, his hunger to lead, and his unapologetic desire to compete on the biggest stage possible, qualities that align almost perfectly with the Spurs' traditionally relentless pursuit of excellence, despite their reserved public persona. For years, fans have associated San Antonio with methodical team building and strategic patience. Yet this unexpected chase of a young, dynamic superstar suggests a subtle yet profound shift in ambition, as if the franchise has decided that the time for quiet rebuilding has ended and the time for empire building has arrived. From Minnesota's perspective, the growing chatter around Edwards has triggered both concern and admiration, as the Timberwolves understand that when a franchise like the Spurs focuses its attention on a player, it is never without deep calculation, cultural alignment, and long-term vision. The potential arrival of Anthony Edwards in San Antonio would be much more than a roster upgrade. It would be a cultural earthquake, blending raw, unfiltered star power with the structured, championship-proven environment that once shaped legends like Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. Inside the Spurs locker room, young players reportedly view the possibility with wide-eyed optimism, imagining what it would be like to share the court with one of the league's most electrifying scorers, whose presence alone can bend defensive schemes and change entire game plans. Fans across Texas have begun to speak in hopeful tones, filling online forums and radio shows with speculation, excitement, and wild projections, sensing that their team could soon be propelled back into the elite conversation of the NBA's true contenders. For the front office, this move is about more than talent. It is about timing, influence, and making a statement to the basketball world that the Spurs are once again ready to lead a new era instead of observing one from the sidelines. Anthony Edwards, still in the early stages of his prime, represents a bridge between the league's future and its present, making him a perfect cornerstone for an organization determined to remain relevant for the next decade and beyond. The business implications alone are staggering, with potential surges in merchandise sales, ticket demand, sponsorship interest, and global media exposure, all ignited by a single, daring connection between San Antonio and one of the NBA's brightest stars. Television networks have already begun preparing for the ripple effect, speculating about increased national broadcast appearances for the Spurs, more primetime games, and a redefined narrative around a team that many had temporarily written off as rebuilding. The basketball strategy behind such a move is equally captivating, as Edwards' fast-paced, high IQ, multidimensional style would open countless tactical possibilities for the Spurs, allowing them to stretch defenses, accelerate transitions, and exploit mismatches in ways not seen in years. Coaches around the league have reportedly taken notice, understanding that preparing to face a Spurs team, led by Anthony Edwards, would require an entirely new level of defensive innovation and psychological readiness. What makes this story even more compelling is the contrast between Minnesota's cold, unforgiving winters and the warm, almost spiritual basketball culture of San Antonio, where legends are respected, systems are immortalized, and greatness is built through unity rather than noise. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support keeps our Spurs coverage strong and brings you the latest updates straight from San Antonio. And jump into the comments. Tell us what you think about today's news. Edwards' own journey, from a fearless young prospect to a confident leader, aligns poetically with the Spurs' identity of molding individuals into champions, suggesting that this potential union could be both natural and unstoppable. The uncertainty, the suspense, and the sheer magnitude of the storyline have combined to create an atmosphere that feels less like a sports rumor and more like the unfolding of destiny, as if the league itself is holding its breath for what comes next. Longtime Spurs supporters who have endured seasons of transition and patience now find themselves reawakened, daring to imagine banners being raised and parades once again filling the streets with silver and black pride. Even former NBA greats have begun to comment on the situation, openly acknowledging that if Anthony Edwards were to wear a Spurs jersey, it would instantly alter the power structure of the Western Conference. The idea of Edwards running the floor in San Antonio, igniting crowds with thunderous drives, clutch shots, and unshakable swagger, feels almost surreal, yet increasingly possible with every new whisper from league insiders. Every pass, every workout, and every meeting within the Spurs organization now carries added tension and anticipation, as if the future of the franchise is slowly being written between the lines of this bold pursuit. Basketball historians already recognize the potential significance of this moment, hinting that it could mark the beginning of a new dynasty if the Spurs succeed in turning interest into reality. For markets outside the traditional big cities, this potential move is also a symbol of hope, proving that vision, culture, and strategy can rival fame, nightlife, and glamour when it comes to attracting top-tier talent. Edwards' personality, known for its charisma, authenticity, and hunger for greatness, would undoubtedly resonate with the hard-working, loyal fan base of San Antonio, creating a bond that transcends entertainment and enters the realm of identity. The mere possibility of this transition has already injected new energy into the off-season narrative, reshaping conversations, headlines, and expectations as the Spurs move from perceived observers to central protagonists in the NBA's most captivating drama. Behind every closed door, every confidential call, and every carefully worded statement, one thing continues to grow clearer. The Spurs' interest in Anthony Edwards is not casual. It is deliberate, ambitious, and potentially historic. As the video continues to replay on screens around the world, showing subtle hints, symbolic graphics, and suspenseful imagery, it fuels the belief that something monumental is not only being discussed, but actively pursued. This is no longer just a rumor whispered by insiders. It is a narrative gaining momentum, driven by evidence, anticipation, and the undeniable logic of a franchise ready to take its boldest leap in decades. If realized, Anthony Edwards' move to San Antonio would not only deliver a superstar to a proud organization, but also rewrite his own legacy, transforming him from a rising star into the central architect of a new basketball empire. Every great era in NBA history has a defining moment, a spark that ignites a chain reaction of glory. And for the Spurs and Anthony Edwards, that moment might be unfolding right now, hidden within shadows, screens, and strategic silence. As speculation intensifies and hope continues to surge, one truth stands out above all others. The NBA is on the verge of a narrative shift, and the San Antonio Spurs, once again, are standing at the very heart of it. And as the final frame of the video fades to black, replaced only by the timeless Spurs logo and a lingering echo of anticipation. The world is left with an overwhelming, thrilling realization that the next great chapter of basketball history may soon be written by Anthony Edwards in silver and black. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of every exclusive San Antonio Spurs news drop, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And don't forget, your opinion matters to Spurs Nation. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.